What's up YouTube? Welcome to my first video as a chronicler for Game of Thrones Winter is Coming. The plan was for this to be a nice exciting video of our first match of the season in Siege of Winterfell. Unfortunately, as you can see, we're outnumbered better than 1.5 to 1 and we get absolutely massacred. This has always been something of a difficult event for our alliance. We don't get much in the way of attendance, so we haven't performed brilliant in the last couple of seasons now. So other than winning the first battle for Armory here, we just get absolutely massacred all over the map. Like by the time we have finished winning this first battle for the Armory, they have taken literally everything else and they just overwhelm us. And it becomes pretty clear right from the start that there is no point in spending personal heals on a match where we're all going to get massacred anyway. So instead I will take the time to introduce myself, talk about my history with the game and how I got to where I am now. So I actually originally started way back in K3. This was in roughly March of 2019. The alliance I was in changed names quite a few times. The one I remember most is GTH. And at this point there was no events like Alliance Conquest, Siege of Winterfell. There wasn't even Kingdom versus Kingdom. The thing that we had to look forward to was Castle Siege every 5 days, and so at this point there was no point in trying to be friendly with our alliances in the kingdom. They were your competition, that was it. So my alliance went around and tried to hold every single city each week. But while we were the strongest alliance in the kingdom, we weren't so much stronger that we could hold every city at once. So we just ended up having like, a group of people would sit somewhere in the middle of the map and hold the 5 great cities you can reach from there. Then our whale, who was within like 3 months of the game starting, was up at about 2 billion strength. He would just jump around all the other great cities and reset their timers so that we could finish securing the ones we have got and then go and take them. That was the peak of entertainment in the game at the time. There was at one point that people were getting sad that Castle Siege was in the middle of the night their time, so they couldn't play. So we came up with a bright idea to move Castle Siege forward by continually resetting one of the clocks on one of the cities. Now, there's a problem with this, which is that the time that the next Castle Siege starts is based on when the first city closes, not when the last one does. We didn't think about this, so we spent about 9 hours we'd made a deal with one alliance to swap their city back and forth, so we just sat there in Sunspear for 9 hours swapping back and forth, because the timer gets shorter the longer the Castle Siege has gone on, so we had to keep doing this constantly every 5 minutes by the end of it, and it was all for nothing. I keep doing this for 3-4 months, then things start getting busy IRL, so I'm not playing quite so much anymore. And I don't know if I missed an announcement or if it just came very short notice, but suddenly KVK was a thing. I log on one morning to find out that KVK happened the day before and I had been zeroed. At this point, I wasn't bubbling a whole lot because most of the strategies around zero castles and all this stuff, no one had come up with them yet. So no one would risk attacking our alliance because it meant getting zeroed by our whale. So it wasn't a big deal that I wasn't bubbling every day until KVK comes around and suddenly there's other whales from other kingdoms and I wake up and I get zeroed. So at this point I quit the game for about a year, I think. This was summer of 2019 and I come back in summer of 2020, height of the pandemic, didn't have anything else to do. So at this point the Return to the Westeros event had just started, so I use it to jump out to K153, where I join the KOS Alliance. At the time, this is a brand new kingdom, so my account being 4 months old is fairly strong. You know, I've got a bunch of tier. Well, I say I've got a bunch of tier 3s. I've got tier 3s unlocked, and I've got some resources stored up. I don't have any troops because I got zeroed, but I quickly rush a few out from all the bonuses you get from Return to Westeros. So my account is fairly strong. There's a couple whales in the kingdom that are stronger than me, but I'm up there. Then I start playing events with them, and I gradually just fall more and more behind the curve. I had no idea why. I later discovered it's because while I was gone, they'd introduced new research trees, mainly the ones surrounding refinement. Refinement didn't exist back in 2019 when I started the game, so I didn't actually know that you could get higher tiers of refinement beyond grey. So I had that maxed out, and I didn't know that I could improve it. So my stats were absolutely garbage. Refinement's on the second page of research. There wasn't a second page of research when I played, and I didn't notice this small arrow telling me there was a second page of research. And I don't discover this the entire time that I'm playing in KOS. This is something I discover later. But I played it in KOS for 8, 9 months. I start getting busy in real life because I've got exams and stuff. I was a student at the time in around March of 2021. So I quit at that point. It was just before the second anniversary event, whenever that took place, because I didn't know that was a thing. I came back and everyone got free castle skins from that. That was annoying. And I come back later that year with another Return to Westeros event. It was around August, September of 2021, and I jump out to K287, I think it was. So I just join the one local alliance there. There is only one. At this point, I have tier 4 troops, so I'm a good deal stronger than everyone else. One guy who was in the alliance there, he had an account on another kingdom that he didn't know how to use Return to Westeros for, so he brought that out, roughly the same strength as me. And then one huge account from ENL jumps out and says, "Hey, we're taking these great cities, and you're not going to stop us." Not a big deal. We didn't really want them. They're not here to zero us, so they just take those, and we stay to stick to ourselves. At this point, I discover the refinement tree is a thing which exists, so my stats are actually getting pretty good, and I play here for about 3 months, but I start getting bored of being the only one who's doing anything in Alliance Conquest. You know, we're coming up against fairly strong opponents, and while I'm the strongest account in the match most of the time, I can't hold every building by myself. You can only rally one building. So I eventually have a bit of a falling out with the alliance leader there, and I decide I'll come back to 153 to play with some old friends from there. I initially rejoined KOS, but they're currently going through a merger with AGL at this point. There's some back and forth there moving, but ultimately I don't like the way things are going there, so with some other people from KOS I moved to D0D, which is where I still am today. That was probably around November of 2021, and yeah, we're there in 153 playing pretty happily, but we don't like AGL ruling the kingdom, so we plan to move. We scouted out a few different kingdoms and eventually settled on K182. The ruling alliance there seemed quite keen to get some other people in to help out with KVK and such, so they welcomed us with open arms. So we all jump out there around January of 2022. So we play there for a few months, and then around April time again, I start getting busy with exams. It's my final year of uni, so I quit the game. Say I'll be back in 1 to 3 months, depending on how busy I am after finishing my exams. I time this almost perfectly. I think I quit at the start of May, and it was 39 days that my castle was off the map, and then Return to Westeros started. So I thought, what, this is a good opportunity to come back. I'm still a bit busy, but I'll come back, and I jump out to K299. I mainly wanted somewhere that was a quiet kingdom that wasn't likely to get many merit hunters, so I can sit there and just chill, and if I do drop bubble, it's unlikely there's going to be many people around to zero me. But my old friends from KOS are still in D0D, and I've made plenty of new friends there, so I decided I will stay in that alliance rather than joining a local one. I can still play in events with them, still play Alliance Conquest, Siege of Winterfell. It does mean that playing in KVK involves me soloing basically everyone. I've got 2 accounts, so it's not completely solo, but 2-man rallies aren't the best. But I'm playing in a fairly small kingdom, so that's not a problem. Most of the accounts that I'm fighting are a fair bit weaker. And that's where I still live today. I've had 1 KVK here so far, and we won quite handily. I think my kingdom got about 900 million points, and between my 2 accounts, I earned 730 million of them. So it was quite a success for me personally. And so that's basically it. That's how I got to where I am now. The plan going forward, content-wise, is, well, I don't know how great content Siege of Winterfell is going to be. I think most people don't enjoy watching it, and I assume we're probably going to continue to get slaughtered. So I'll probably try to find something else to fill in the gap until Glorious Battle, the new all-out war event starts, and then Alliance Conquest is where I think I'm going to have some good insights. I lead the alliance for Alliance Conquest, and we only get about 10 people in voice, but we still perform pretty well, so I can go over, the tips and tricks I use to compensate for not being able to get the alliance to join voice chat. and explain, how we managed to fight off stronger opponents. Beyond that, I'll break down any patches, explaining how I think the new content can be used, if there's any cool events along the lines of Narrow Sea, Essos, Night King, I'll share any strategies I have with that. If there's any content that you specifically want to see, then let me know and I'll see what I can do. I think that should just about do it for this first episode though, so I want you to let me know in the comments, where did you first start playing the game? What kingdom were you in? I do wonder how many accounts out there that are older than mine are still actively playing the game. I bet there's not that many. Anyway, thank you for watching this first episode, and I hope you will continue to join me on my journey of chronicling Game of Thrones Winter is Coming.